Good evening.
Ready for this?
Good evening and welcome to Ludlow's Town Meeting. My name is Newton. It's 7:03 and we'll now call the meeting to order. And to start, if you'll please rise and say with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And before we start the normal business for town meeting, if there's no objections, we will suspend the rules and hear briefly from two of our senators representing us in this district. Joe Major and Senator Allison Clarkson.
You can clap it. So I will tell you, I'm Senator Joe Major, along with the senior Senator Allison Clarkson. I will tell you this, I have a little bit of PTSD with Ludlow. So on a Saturday, Springfield has their Apple Festival, and I go there first. And then I come to Ludlow and have chili. And then I go to Woodstock and have more apples because they have their Apple Festival at the same time. So that's on Saturday. Let's just say on Sunday, I'm in the restroom for the rest of the day. Well, thank you very much for having us speak. First, I do want to touch on something that obviously everybody is talking about, and that is Act 73. As many of you know, Act 73 was passed as part of our educational transformational efforts aimed at modernizing, I say that, and strengthening Vermont's educational system, while addressing its long-term cost pressures. The Senate favors a map based generally on voluntary school consolidation and preserving existing school choice. The House is almost just the opposite. It has proposed a more stringent reduction in school choice and more enforced redistricting. The thought process in that for both is to lower your property taxes. Affordability in Vermont is something that we are all worried about and that we are trying very, very hard to lower. It is that, and also our healthcare as well is, we're struggling with. Healthcare in particular, S197 focuses on improving access to primary healthcare across Vermont. We are facing a real workforce shortage, especially in rural areas like ours. This bill works to strengthen recruitment and retention of primary care providers, support community health systems, and expand access so Vermonters aren't waiting for months to get appointments. The hope of this is to keep people healthier and lower long-term costs. Those two things in particular are driving our affordability problems in Vermont, and hopefully we can address those things. These are not easy issues, and we are going to work very hard to make things affordable here in Vermont. So without further ado, I want to introduce the senior senator of Windsor District, Allison Clarkson.
The joy of being in Ludlow is we get to be in the town of the former senior senator of Windsor County, Alice Nitka. I loved serving with Alice. Anyway, it's so great to see her. Town meeting is a time to celebrate our municipal life together. And it's great to see so many of you here tonight. And we appreciate you welcoming us. We are your state partners, and we are so grateful that you're letting us speak tonight. we work closely with our towns to improve life for Vermont and for Vermonters. I'm Allison Clarkson. I am the chair of Senate Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs, and also I serve on Senate Government Operations. We're here to share tonight that even though our world may be full of uncertainty, Vermont is stable, and your legislature continues to be very functional. We have a lot of challenges, no doubt, but I am certain that we will navigate them in a civil and productive fashion. And at the end of the year, we will come into consensus on both how we move forward with education and how we balance our budget. This year, we are most focused on a couple key things. We're very focused on continuing to protect Vermonters' civil liberties, our civil rights, protecting Vermonters from federal budget cuts, which are very challenging for us with our budget, working hard to keep Vermont an affordable place to live, working to ensure Vermont has a sustainable public education system at a sustainable price, and working every day in our committees, and that is the bulk of our work every day. We're about halfway through. We're 8 weeks through an 18-week session, and most of our work hasn't even made it to the other chamber yet. Our work is a work in progress. So anyone who promises you that we're getting stuff done, we're getting it done, but it's through the pipeline. We're making progress on, as Joe said, expanding access to primary care, building more housing, re-envisioning our education delivery system, reducing property taxes, expanding our workforce, protecting our privacy, and trying to reduce the gap in the transportation fund, which is $33 million right now. If any of you have ideas, let us know how we're going to do that, because that affects our towns almost more than anything else that we do. In Senate Economic Development, we're working hard to build more housing with less money. We have a couple big consumer protection bills. In economic development, we're continuing to expand the resources for small businesses, and we're protecting our genetic and data privacy, a big work that we've been working on for 2 years. And in GovOps, we're working on, I'm very excited about a regional law enforcement model that we're piloting in Windham County. We have long looked at how we can regionalize our public safety offerings, fire, EMS, and law enforcement. And all you need to do is know if you have a domestic in Plymouth, the state police are not getting there in time. I've had 2 in towns that are far from the barracks, and we have been wanting to work on regionalizing and making better equal access and more equity with how we deliver law enforcement in the state. And we're also working hard on an election protections bill in the voting rights bill. But in the State House, we say, may I speak on a moment of personal privilege? And this is my moment of personal privilege, if I may. After 22 years in the legislature, I have made the big decision to retire. I'm following Alice, who's led us well on this. Serving you has been the honor of a lifetime, and I am so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for sending me to Montpelier to represent you and to advocate for you. Thank you for trusting me to make decisions on your behalf. Thank you for the gift of getting to know you. It's been such a gift going door to door in Ludlow and all the towns in our Windsor district. And the incredible people we've met in Windsor County. It's just, the people are really what make this job so great. Getting to know and appreciate all our town's idiosyncrasies, and there are a lot of them, and getting to know the many glories of this remarkable state that we are lucky enough to live in, and never forget how lucky we are to live here in Vermont. But I am ready for a new adventure. Vermont is full of opportunities and needs, and I am ready to focus on some of those now. I have treasured my time in the legislature. Thank you for all the opportunity to serve you. It is an honor and a privilege that I never forget and that I'm always grateful for. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on a very busy night.
Thanks.
So, we're not just speaking and leaving. We have to go to another town. So we care. We're going to West Windsor. We care about Ludlow. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. And even when you do things with your chili. And so that's very important. Ludlow. And one of the things that I've noticed, this is one of the best town halls that we go through, and the seating areas are tremendous. So thank you, and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Penny. Welcome.
I will hold you to that statement that you care, and that I would love to have your cell phone number. And Senator, congratulations, and thank you for your service.
So here's one of the deals. I'm one of the few senators that actually puts their cell phone on my legislative page. So just don't call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, but please call me, or email me. Your voice is very, very important. And so thank you for allowing us to speak.
Thank you.
All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Before we start, I just want to take a moment to sort of recognize town meeting as an opportunity for local direct democracy. And before we start, I just want to give the chance for the people up front to introduce themselves and what they do. So let's start with Ula.
I'm Ula Cook, and I have been town clerk and treasurer now about 30 years.
Penny Wu, municipal manager. I've been in this position for about 3 months.
George Tucker, Selectman.
Justin Hijack, Selectman.
Noah Schmidt, Selectman.
Scott Bates, Selectman.
I'm Alicia, and I've been taking the bid for about 23, 24 years.
So town meeting usually happens once a year, and it happens in 2 parts. So voting privately to elect officers, that will be tomorrow, and voting on everything else as a group happens tonight. So there are 10 questions or articles to be decided through this year's town meeting. Article 1 will be tomorrow, and all of us will decide Article 2 through 10 tonight. You can find those articles to follow along with in your town report on page 10 and 11. And then you can also find some management notes about those articles on page 12. If you have a question, you might want to just check there first to see if it's already answered. There's some more clarification. Since Article 1 is about the election of town officers, we won't be discussing it tonight, and there won't be an informational meeting about it. Now I just want to give a little process about how this all works. When we start, we'll start moving through each question in order, starting with Article 2. And you are here to make decisions on those articles only. You can't make any binding decisions on anything that hasn't been warned or listed here. If you'd like to discuss anything that's not about these articles, there'll be some time at the end for other business. We'll be using Robert's Rules of Order, as I understand it, and except when modified for Vermont state law. And what that means is that for every article, someone will make a motion to adopt it, someone else will second that motion, I'll read it again, and then discussion can begin. And that discussion has to be, again, about that article itself. Every voter has the right to participate in discussion about every article if they wish, and they have the right to participate before speaking a second time, before someone else speaks a second time. And only Ludlow registered voters can make motions and vote. If there are no objections, non-voters can speak who are employed by the town of Ludlow in their official capacity. If you're not a voter and would like to speak, just let us know ahead of time, and we'll see if there's any objections. Please also direct your discussion to me, and remember that debate happens in a pretty structured way that isn't necessarily a back and forth conversation, and I can sort of direct your questions if you have them to the board or someone else. If you would like to speak, please come to the microphone and wait to be recognized and start by saying your name, for my sake and for also for the minutes as well. Only one person is recognized at a time. And then finally, when debate is over, we will vote on that article. And we'll do so by, I'll ask everyone in favor to say aye, everyone opposed to say no, and I'll announce the outcome as I hear it. And once we move forward, we cannot go backwards. Are there any questions about the process that we're using for tonight? All right. In that case, I will read Article 1 for the first time. Article 2. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow fix the salaries of the select board, cemetery commissioners, and trustees of public funds the same as last year, being select board $1,600, cemetery commissioners $900, trustees of public funds $400. Is there a motion?
I so move. George Dobson.
Is there a second? Your name?
Excuse me, I didn't catch.
Can you say your name again? All right. So I'll read it one more time. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow fix the salaries of the select board, cemetery commissioners, and trustees of public funds the same as last year? Select board $1,600, cemetery commissioners $900, and trustees of public funds $400. Now you're welcome to discuss this. Yes.
I'm Bob Brandt, and I think the select board, I'd like to offer them a little bit more money. They're doing a lot more than one meeting a month. I'd like to recommend $2,100 instead of the 16. Just my thought.
Oh, would you like to make a motion to?
I would make the motion that the select board gets paid $2,100 instead of the $1,600.
All right. I'll second it. Second it. And your name?
Your name?
Charlie Wiggins.
All right. So there has been an amendment to replace $1,600 with $2,100. And now we're discussing that amendment. Is there any discussion about that change in the article?
I'm sorry, I think that was Michelle. But
Would anyone like to?
Yeah, we would change the bottom line in terms of the amount. And Michelle, that would be under,
Allison, is it appropriate that we make a financial arrangement without having them pre-advertise at the season?
Yeah, that's a question for me.
Yes.
Yeah, so there can be some changes as long as it doesn't affect majorly the bottom line of the budget. So there can be minor adjustments. And in this case, I would say that 2,100 is a minor adjustment in the scope of a $5 million budget. Is there any more discussion about the amendment to change 1,600 to 2,100? So if there's no more discussion, we'll move on to voting about the amendment. So we're deciding now whether to change 1,600 to 2,100. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the amendment is passed. Now we have Article 2 as amended. Is there any more discussion about Article 2? Hearing no more discussion about Article 2, we'll now move on to vote on the amended article, with Select Board receiving 2,100, Cemetery Commissioners 900, and Trustees of Public Funds 400. All those in favor of the amended article say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Next, moving on to Article 3. Shall the town of Ludlow collect taxes on real property in installments, taxes to be paid to the town treasurer on August 15th, 2026, November 15th, 2026, February 15th, 2027, and May 15th, 2027, and must be delivered to the town treasurer and postmarked on or before that due date. Is there a motion to move Article 3? Yes. And your name? Your name? Is there a second? Any discussion on Article 2? Sorry, Article 3. All right. If there's no more discussion, we'll move to vote on Article 3. All those in favor of Article 3 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Now moving to Article 4. Is there a motion for Article 4? Is there a second? All right, I'll read it again. Article 4, shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to borrow money to pay the necessary expenses of the town in any part of its indebtedness? Is there any discussion on Article 4? Hearing no discussion, we'll now move to a vote on Article 4. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Moving on to Article 5. Is there a motion for Article 5?
You need to read it.
I move that we accept it.
Okay.
And Buckley.
Is there a second? All right, to read Article 5, shall the voters of the town of Ludlow vote a specific amount in lieu of a rate on the dollar on the grand list as set forth in the Select Board's budget and the Windsor County budget. Then, the Select Board shall set the tax rate necessary to raise this amount after the grand list has been completed and lodged in the office of the town clerk. The amount to be raised by taxes will be $5,454,528 in $40.45. Is there any discussion on Article 5? Just come forward.
All right, my name is Gary Joseph. The budget comprises a big portion of this report. And when I was working in the real world, not government, if I was more than 4 or 5% off of my estimate, I would have some splaining to do. I'm just looking at the to be raised in taxes section, and in the administration department, the actual is about 100% over the budget, and intergovernmental is about 30% over. The ambulance department is way over 383% or something. Building and grounds, they're pretty close. I'll get back to capital. The cemetery department is 60% over budget. The community center operations 46% over budget. Debt management 35% over budget. Fire department 53% over budget. There's a trend here. Highway department 29% over. Board of Listers did a great job. Parks and Recreation 23% over. Planning and zoning 14% over. Police department was within 10%, good for them. Transfer station, 59% over. And the clerk and treasurer department was a bright spot. They were actually under, but the variance was a pretty big percentage.
Can you just try to speak up a little bit?
Raise that mic up.
Okay. Okay. Going back to the capital, the budget for 2025 only had 5 line items between expenditures and capital revenues, but the actual had 23 line items. There were a lot of surprises that just hit everybody out of nowhere. And then 2026 and 2027 each have 4 line items. So I'm expecting stuff to just pop up out of nowhere again. Then you come and ask the taxpayers for millions of dollars to cover this. I just have a suggestion for going forward. Can the board of directors get the listers to train the other departments how to budget? They do a great job.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak about Article 5?
Andrea Goldman, 80 Old Village Lane. Would like to thank our neighbor for pointing out the same thing I was going to. And it seems like there's a lot of surprises in labor. We understand when there are surprises in departments where more fires, more police action, more highway is needed, but it seems like there's a lot in here that the surprises are what we would call controllables. So what is the accountability to the various departments to hold to their budgets? And also, where is the 1% tax in here? Did I miss it? Because I don't see that line item. Any thoughts?
Would anybody up front like to answer that?
I'll start.
Okay.
So 2 questions. You had 2 questions there. Thank you for both of those comments. I'll start with speaking on the proposed operating expenditures and why it appears that we have the increase that we do this year. When I started in this position, the board asked for realistic operating expenditures. And I would ask all of you to go back and look at the actuals. And the first gentleman did speak to that. Look at the actuals in terms of what we spent. In my opinion, we've been grossly underfunded in many of our essential service areas. When I say essential services, I mean the things that we have in this community that many rural towns in Vermont do not have. Fire, ambulance, PD. When there's a winter storm, you have plow operators that operate in those other 3 departments that I mentioned 24/7. I bring up actuals because, again, when the board asked me to go and look into all of the different departments and what are we spending and why are we spending what we are, it became very obvious to me that, again, we are underfunded in some areas, in many of the departments. And we've been underfunded for several years. And so if you take that underfunded percentage every year and you carry that forward, you're never going to catch up. And when you have things like insurances that skyrocket, along with increased costs for doing business, everyone that has a business here knows there's been an increase in supplies, materials, labor, all of those things, compounded with not having an actual budget that has real numbers, realistic numbers in some of our areas, starts to add up. And so when you look at some of these departments, and thank you for highlighting the areas that do have revenue, where there is an opportunity to bring in additional revenue, we see that. So I would ask that again, go back, let's look at the actuals. If there are specific areas that we need to point out in terms of those areas that we've had issues with vehicles, aged equipment, unforeseen circumstances, then we can certainly answer those. The 1% option tax is not in, well, I can't speak to the 25 because it wasn't that. We didn't have 1% back then. It was passed last year. For 20, we don't have, if you go to, so let me back up. Under page 21, to answer the question about capital. You're not going to see the types of numbers and the types of things, equipment, capital expenditures, because the select board has identified many of the pieces of equipment that can be covered by the 1% option tax to be covered by that. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to the, about 1%.
I believe the 1% total as it stands right now is at, Ms. Cook, you might be able to correct me, is at about 447,000.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
we anticipated a 698,000 per year stipend from that.
Speak a little louder, please.
Is this better?
Yeah.
All right. We have about 447,000 in the account as of right now. We anticipate about 698,000 for the year. I don't see where that has been applied into the budget, but it is in the accounts.
Special revenue.
It's in special revenue because they're earmarked just for certain things. I think there's three or four things that the folks in Ludlow decided that money could be spent on. So hopefully that answers the local options tax.
Any other discussion or comments?
Linda Thompson. On page 26, it talks about the high school building, and I'm not sure if this is the right spot to ask this question, but back when Black River High School closed, there was discussion what to do with that building, and it was decided that we would rent it to the expeditionary school, and I thought it was for a specific number of years, and then it would be discussed again. And I thought that number of years ran out last year, but there was no discussion. So I'm just wondering going forward, because it's about $100,000 that we are spending for that building in the budget.
It's a great question, Ms. Thompson. Thank you. We have started exploring a building committee, which Mr. Tucker serves on. We desperately want to start a steering committee for the high school building as well. And hopefully those two committees can work in tandem with each other and try to figure out a great use for that building. It is on the agenda for 2026 to address that. Would you like to speak to anything on the budget?
The building committee is made up of Mr. Bates and myself from the selectmen and community members, along with Chief Warfel and our fire chief. We're currently addressing all potential options and related to the emergency need for housing our ambulance personnel is currently the task that we have been working on most recently. The high school building is on our potential talking points as we tackle each individual.
Pam O'Neill. I guess, Mike, when you talk about this committee, are you in contact with the school board, the Ludlow Mount Holly School Board? Because with what's going on with the educational system and the schools and potentially redistricting, I would implore both to work together, because, I mean, we lost a high school. It changed the dynamics of this town. For those of us that have lived here and had their children go through, and if we, depending on what happens with the state and we lose any other schools, I mean, having that high school right there certainly makes us pretty viable to have.
Andrea Goldman. First of all, thank you for the responses and about the underfunding and looking at the actual. I would request that next year's budget, please include that 1% tax. I'm thrilled to hear the amount of it and that we could see what it's being used for, because by that amount, we're talking between 5 and 10%, so it's kind of material. And the second is just, so if we now have a better budget, something that's closer to reality, let's say, are there some governors so that we're not looking at the same type of, we're over 30%, 50% next year? I guess that's one question that was sort of still outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goldman. I just wanted to piggyback on the first comment. Ms. Cook, we can't include the local options tax on the budget because it's not part of the operating budget.
Because it's a special.
It's a special fund, so it can't be in the budget because it's earmarked for certain things. I'm sure we could print that number in here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay. It just shouldn't be part of the budget. Would you like to speak to the second point, Ms. Wu?
Sure, and at any given moment, again, if anyone wants to know what is being planned for that 1%, it was very clear when it was passed, what it's supposed to be used for, and we're being as transparent with the 1%. We're using it for the chipper, the highway truck, a trackless plow, ambulance monitors, Dorsey Park cameras, those kinds of things. And if everyone recalls from when you voted for that 1% option tax, it was supposed to be used on equipment and infrastructure projects. And so we're using it where it absolutely needs to be spent.
And as far as holding folks accountable, department heads and other departments, we've seen the actuals be over for a few years. The flood was an unfortunate happenstance that bled into a couple of the fiscal years. Moving forward, the new town manager, Ms. Wu, has made it a point to start holding numbers more accountable, and she actually brought a lot of these solutions to the budget on her behalf for us. So we feel good moving forward in 2027's budget.
Dan Buckley, just wanted to say that maybe you put a section in here that just shows the 1% tax, how much they gave, where it was spent, as opposed to, it's not part of the town budget, but just show it.
I think that's a great idea. And the list that Ms. Wu just read out were possible ideas that were brought to the select board. Not everyone was initiated or voted on, for the record.
It's a good idea.
Steve Myers, I just have one question. I've looked around to try to get the answer, and is Okemo paying the 1% tax on everything, or is because they're based in Colorado, being owned by Vail, do they get to avoid that? I haven't been able to get a proper answer on that one yet. Like, does every cup of coffee at Okemo contribute 1%?
That's a great question. As far as I understand, anything that's charged a 6% sales tax would also be charged the 1% local options tax.
Even though they're based, it's essentially not being sold to Ludlow.
The business is being done on our land. Yeah. That's my understanding.
That is correct. You buy something from Amazon, it's delivered in Ludlow, so it has that 1% Same thing for any business done in the town limits.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Myers. And to be clear, the 1% local options tax is on meals, alcohol, rooms, and sales in the town for capital purchases and infrastructure projects. It is a good tax because you're taxing the very people that visit here. So when the population, I don't need to tell you all that. Y'all know.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak about this article?
Aaron Galley. I guess this is kind of just a general budget comment I have, but admittedly I've missed 1 or 2 of the past town meetings, but before that I was pretty reliably here for the past 10 years. And something that I noticed was pretty common was, ooh, we have a surplus this year, 50,000, 100,000, 150,000. We're gonna buy down the tax rate. Cool, thanks. You bought me a couple cups of coffee next year. But if that, anytime that the town has a surplus, if that goes into a rainy day fund, that can earn the town interest rather than we're gonna buy the tax rate down, which for the average homeowner doesn't really do much for us. We're talking $20, $30, $40. Okay, thanks. But like, if that can earn the town interest and that can go into a rainy day fund, so when we have these events, we have this equipment break and whatnot. And I feel like I'm kind of getting that vibe of that's the direction this board is heading in, instead of giving the money back to the town and saving it for when we do have another flood, because we're going to have another flood. Anyways, just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know that this board and Ms. Wu, the town manager, are very interested in understanding capital needs. And Mr. Alden, you would like to hear that we are very motivated to understand our life of our assets and depreciable scales and try to get some funds going for equipment that we know we're going to replace and have a schedule for that. Great point, Mr. Gallagher. Thank you.
Any last comments about Article 5? Sounding like there's no more discussion, we can now move on to a vote on Article 5. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Next one's law. Get ready. Yes.
Yeah, we have people on Zoom, for some reason the screen's not on. We show a link right here, to get on Zoom. Is there a reason for that?
Sir, may I have your name, please? Because you Bill Jocelyn?
Joe.
Joe.
181 Route 107.
Mr. Cody, is there a reason why the television isn't on?
We are online. We are online, right?
Yeah, so I was asked to not make the Zoom is not just for it's only for listening and viewing only.
Understood.
We have our representative on there.
I would refer that to the moderator for the end of the meeting if that individual would like to speak.
So I did put into the chat that all that information, so it has been relayed to them that there's no information.
Thank you.
But he is trying to still speak. How you want me to try to accommodate that?
I would imagine the moderator can make that decision maybe towards the end of the meeting.
And as a point of order, unfortunately, this meeting has to be in person. It's it's not like a select board meeting because this is a body by the people who, by all the voters who are here, by checking your name as you came in. So unfortunately, it has to be the people in this room.
Could you please come up to the mic? And that is also for the people on Zoom, because if you don't go to the mic, they won't hear you. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you. So, hi, we had senators, two senators here. We had two senators here who were able to talk about the legislature. Representative Kevin Winter wasn't able to be here tonight. He's out of state. So he was told that he'd be able to speak to the town meeting tonight on Zoom. So he's waiting. We'd appreciate if you could accommodate that maybe at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Article 6. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to maintain a capital fund to support the following vehicle and equipment purchases, building maintenance and repairs, and to fund programs? Highway equipment fund, $30,000. Fire equipment fund, $30,000. Police equipment fund, $5,000. Recreation facility fund, $10,000. Ludlow Town Hall facility fund, $10,000. Ludlow Community Center facility fund, $5,000. Black River Senior Center facility fund, $2,500. Black River High School building fund, $5,000. The amount to be raised in taxes will be $97,500. Is there a motion for Article 6?
Name?
Is there a second? I'll read the motion one more time. Shall the vote of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to maintain a capital fund to support the following vehicle and equipment purchases, building maintenance and repairs, and to fund programs? Highway equipment fund, $30,000. Fire equipment fund, $30,000. Oh.
That's not in the budget. You'll buy batteries, put that in the budget.
While he's taking care of that, I'd just like to interject. My wife tells me I need hearing aids. I don't think I do, but I am having a hard time hearing people, so please hold my forward. Way to speak. Thank you.
Will do.
Perfect, I heard you.
George, did you hear me without a mic?
Yeah. There's a reason for that.
Voice lessons.
I appreciate it. Quite honestly, I can't believe I'm the only one. The other wife is your wife might be right.
How's this? Is this better? All right. So picking up Recreation Facilities Fund, $10,000. Town Hall Facility Fund, $10,000. Ludlow Community Center Facilities Fund, $5,000. Black River Senior Center Facilities Fund, $2,500. Black River High School Building Fund, $5,000. The amount to be raised in taxes will be $97,500. Is there any discussion on Article 6? Yes.
Dan Buckley, could this be funded with the 1%?
Go to the mic, please.
Could this be funded with the 1%?
Would someone up front like to answer that?
So I think the best way to explain how the select board is choose to use the 1% money would be to supplement these figures so that these numbers have, to the best of my knowledge, not changed in many years. And so what the select board was faced was, do we propose additional money or do we use the 1% to buy that equipment that would normally be out of these funds? Does that answer your question?
And I just want to add, I think we're very mindful of not buying down the budget. And we don't want to get this pool of money and, hey, we're going to spend it on all these things that we normally have in our budget, these expenses, and then in 5-10 years, we end up in the same position we're in now. We're definitely going to use it, but being mindful of where that money is going.
Any other discussion on Article 6? Yes.
It's just a question. Is this amount of money included in Article 5, or is this in addition to?
In addition to.
The answer was in addition to.
In addition to.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on Article 6? Hearing no more discussion, we will now move to a vote on Article 6. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. For Article 7, because I'm on the board of directors for the organization in question, the next Article 7 will be moderated by the vice chair, and I'll sit this one out and be right back with you for Article 8.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Article 7, shall the voters of the town of Ludlow appropriate the sum of $5,000 to Okemo Valley TV to help offset the labor costs associated with providing video coverage, recording, broadcasts, streaming, and archival of municipal meetings, as well as technical support for the AV systems in the town hall auditorium and conference room in accordance with 24 VSA 2691.
I so move. George Thompson.
Mr. Thompson. Ms. Stinson. Any discussion?
I'd like to just say the amount of meetings that we go to just at the select board level, it's more than once a month. You got your village trustees, you got your cemetery commission, water commissioners, electric light department, rec committee. All of those are filmed, recorded on Zoom. The amount of technical support they do is amazing. It is a great bang for our buck. I still don't think they're asking for enough. And I think they're a very valuable resource for us here, definitely at the select board level and for the community at whole.
Any further discussion? I'd like to put the motion to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. All the not in favor? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now back to Article 8. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to establish and maintain a grant match fund in the amount of $100,000 to be used when local matching funds are required to receive grant funding? Is there a motion for Article 8?
Is that Aaron Valley?
All right, I will read it one more time. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to establish and maintain a grant match fund in the amount of $100,000 to be used when local matching funds are required to receive grant funding? Is there any discussion about Article 8? Yes, George.
So, is there a precedent that, how did you come up with $100,000? Is that, have we had to use that, this past year? Did we need $100,000? We had to come up with some place to do matching funds, or how are you anticipating $100,000?
Typically, we have not built matching funds into our operating costs. Sometimes we have, and it's been in to the tune of 10 or 20,000. As we have started to realize there are a lot of grants that are out there. There are a lot of federal grants that we are missing out on applying for. There are a lot of historic grants that we are missing out on. Every department in this municipality has tried to apply for some grants. Some we didn't have the funds to match. Some we have. So we realized that from the ones that we have applied for and been able to attain, we came up with $100,000. One of the most recent grants that we received, that we applied for, was for a COPS grant. We were able to hire a 7th officer because of that. And so what this does is this will build into the budget, and it is a fund that will go into its own account, so that when a department head sees that they have an opportunity to apply for a road grant, a trail grant for Parks and Rec, they don't have to figure out, well, I have some money left in my maintenance line, or maybe my equipment line. Maybe I can use 2,000 for that. This is what this fund is for, and it's specifically for that.
I understand that, and I appreciate your answer and how you came up with the figure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more discussion on Article 8? All right, hearing no more discussion, we'll now move to a vote. All those in favor of Article 8, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Moving to Article 9. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to establish and maintain a reappraisal fund in the amount of $47,000 to help offset costs required by the state's 6-year reappraisal mandate? Is there a motion on Article 9?
So moved, Schmidt.
Is there a second? All right, I'll read it one more time. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to establish and maintain a reappraisal fund in the amount of $47,000 to help offset costs required by the state's 6-year reappraisal mandate? Is there any discussion about Article 9?
Andrea Goldman, could you guys just explain what this means? Because are we just spending $47,000 in advance of something? I guess I don't understand what this means by offsetting. Is this something we had to do now? I'm not understanding the request.
You want me to start?
Go ahead.
I can start. Thank you for that question. So typically, we're used to having an appraisal every 10 to 12 years. And the state has newly adopted and implemented a new state statute that requires municipalities to conduct townwide reappraisals every 6 years. I know, it's tough. The state pays a reappraisal allowance of $8.50 per parcel to conduct reappraisals. So Ludlow gets back approximately $8.50 per parcel to do these reappraisals. That amount has not changed since the 70s. Okay? So yes, we are on the hook for this. And so what we are trying to do is prepare us for the next reappraisal versus coming to you and saying, we need all this money up front. We are trying to take a little bit at a time, put it into an account, a fund, a special revenue fund that captures this amount until the next appraisal. I know.
Is to bring that back up to 100%, which you will see a reduction in your tax bill. After we do the statistical, we are then at the 6-year clock, and we cannot do back-to-back statisticals, which, think of it, statistical's the cheap one. That's the only way to look at it. It's a fraction of the cost of a whole reappraisal. So the next reappraisal that we will be facing will be a full reappraisal. And we do have the town assessor here if he has to add any nuance.
Sure. Ryan Silvestri, Pleasant Street Extension. I'm your contracted town assessor, working out of the Lister's office. So we are currently undergoing a statistical reappraisal. It is to correct the CLA. When the CLA drops below 100, the state equalizes each individual assessment by that percentage to get back to 100, and then taxes your education on that number. That's done indiscriminately. So everybody's assessment for the equalized education grand list is plus 44% right now. That's very regressive. Typically, those percentages, when you use umbrella percentages, it doesn't adjust enough for the higher end properties, and it adjusts too much for the lower end properties. So by doing a reappraisal and equalizing everybody's value individually, that is true equalization. As a result of the reappraisal, some values might go up 20%, some might go up 100%. Depending on the overall average percent of change, that's really the best indication to whether or not your taxes will go up or down. Now, the variables there that dictate your tax bill the most is the statewide education tax rate, which as of right now is heavily unknown, whether there will be a buy down through state surplus funds or whatever the legislature is going to do to address what they're already talking about, another double-digit increase in statewide education tax rate this year. So by correcting the CLA, it doesn't mean your tax bill will go down. It may go down for some, it may stay relatively the same for some, it may go up for others. But that is why we do reappraisal and equalize each individual assessment and not use umbrella adjustments that don't really quantify or capture equalization for everybody. So when the state goes through a 6-year cycle, we typically go 10 or 12 years, that $8.50, it accrues, it grows, and typically that pays for the vast majority, if not the entire reappraisal. So by cutting the interval in half and not offering any more funds to supplement the municipalities, that's basically where we have half the money at a time we have to do it. So if we don't do a reappraisal, the state, the deterrence there from the state is that they could remove our ability to collect those funds, the $8.50, plus they also have $1.50 per parcel annual maintenance. So any money that comes from the state to subsidize the solicitor's office has the potential to go away if we don't conform to their schedule. The 6-year cycle really does create a stronger amount of equity. The biggest issue, so as we're doing the statistical reappraisal, the grant from 2021 to now, the grant list is going to increase significantly, which if the municipal budget stays, so if the municipal budget stays the same and the grand list doubles, the municipal tax rate is cut in half, right? That's in a perfect world. Obviously, municipal budgets are going to change, grand list is going to go up when it goes up. But it makes it really difficult to run a community if you don't know what your municipal tax rate truly is. So by shortening the increment of reappraisal, having a better understanding what the grand list value actually is, it actually stabilizes our rates. It allows towns to project and plan, and it also, with taxes being so aggressive, we need to make sure we have relevant and valid and equitable assessed values on every property. So, hope that helps.
How many parcels are we, say, 50 per parcel, or how many parcels are we talking
Yep,
about?
we are 34, just under 3,400 parcels. Yep.
Right, I think in the budget, you said that there's towns that, there's no enforcement behind that, and that there's towns that just haven't done it at all.
Yes, and that's actually it's a big part of the school consolidation issue. And they're consolidating communities because there are municipalities that are very small, very rural. They have gone an enormous amount of time without doing a reappraisal, and they can't get vendors. It's very hard for even a vendor like myself to even bid the job because these towns typically have no zoning. so they can't even tell me how many houses they have. It's hard, it's really hard to work in these areas. So by creating these reassessment districts, which are going to mirror school district boundary lines, they're trying to create more equity amongst towns, because right now there are municipalities like Ludlow, we do it right. We maintain our database, we go out, we capture grandless growth, we have permitting. We don't just put this, away for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden it has to be fixed. But so we can be equitable within a community. When we look at other towns within similar school districts that haven't reappraised, you start to lose equity town to town, and that's what the state is trying to fix.
Yep. Back here.
Yeah, just a quick question. When's the next full appraisal?
The next full reappraisal in 6 years will be slated for 2032 completion.
So what you're just describing of the reappraisal, that's the piece that's really hitting the school tax up so high, because other towns around in the state have not reassessed.
They're still being equalized by the CLA. So you have some towns, the lowest CLA in the state right now is 48%. So there, but yeah, that's just one bulk adjustment.
I believe they set a district rate, Ms. O'Neill. Is that correct? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Any more discussion on this article, Article 9? All right. Hearing no more discussion, we'll now move to a vote on Article 9. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the motion is passed. Moving to Article 10. For the voters of the town of Ludlow, authorize the select board to establish and maintain a fund in the amount of $15,000 to aid in the removal of hazardous trees. Is there a motion for Article 10? All right. Is there a second? Any discussion on Article 10? Yes.
Phil Carter.
Great. You want to come forward?
Like this. Hi, my name's Phil Carter. I'm your tree warden. This past summer, we discovered the emerald ash borer in Ludlow. If you're not familiar, this invasive pest is going to kill all of our ash trees, or most of them. Maybe 1 out of 1,000 will survive. We discovered it out in the Buttermilk Falls area. It'll spread throughout the town. It's already in Plymouth, Reading, Andover, and so on. The select board created a tree advisory board to help start looking at these issues as our urban forest starts to change. And it is going to change. The tree board has been schooled, instructed by the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program. They came to Ludlow and instructed us on how to do tree mapping, GPS tree mapping, so we can identify where the most hazardous trees are and to get them out first. That's what this is all about. It's a lot cheaper to cut a live tree than it is a dead one. And so we, there was actually a grant that came along, $20,000 grant that we could have had. And when I went after it, the first question they asked me was, well, did you do your tree mapping yet? And I said, no. What's that mean? And they said, well, we're not going to give you any money if you don't know what you're going to spend it on. So we got instructed and schooled on how to do this tree mapping. The tree advisory board is ready to go. The select board is well aware of this. So we put together a plan to start mitigating the removal of ash trees before they become a public hazard. So the plan right now is to identify the trees that are most likely to become a public hazard and get them out first. There are trees at Dorsey Park. They're all over the place. $15,000 is nothing. We're going to spend a lot more than 15 grand before this is all said and done. But we have to start somewhere, and this is a start. So that's what it's all about. And we want to get them out sooner than later while they're still alive. Not all of them, but the ones that present a hazard, that if they fall, they're going to fall in a road or in a schoolyard or in a park. And they will. And when it happens, it's going to happen quickly. So all of a sudden, we'll be coming home one day and you look down your road and go, man, look at all these trees. What's happening to them? They may already be infected. And then, boom, they go. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, take a ride down to Arlington. Take a look around down there. They're well ahead of us with this problem. So that's what this is about. And we're just trying to get a start on it. And this is not going to be cheap. It averages around $2,400 for a bucket truck to come and take out one tree. That's one tree, $2,400. And we have thousands of them. And we need to get on it as a town. So it's coming, can't get away from it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
We're very lucky to have Phil. He knows a lot. He's super passionate about it. We would not be getting ahead of this so fast without him. So thank you.
Is there any other discussion on Article 10? Yes.
Schmidt, 98 Chapman Road. I'd like to make a motion to amend and increase this from 15,000 to 50,000. I know during budget discussions, this was dropped down from what Phil had proposed at 100,000. And I think we have an issue that we need to be dealing with, and I think the townspeople should look at supporting this with a little bit more than just 15,000.
Thank you.
Where is the second?
I'm sorry.
Gary Blodgett.
All right, there is a amendment to change this to $50,000. Is there any discussion on this? Yes.
The same issue that
With regard to the same issue that I raised previously about increasing the budget without a warning, I think I certainly appreciate what Phil is doing. It's a great cause, needs to be done. But I think that beyond advertising that previously, it's too large an amount, and I wouldn't think it would qualify to meet the criteria of a minimal amount.
I am going to agree with you on that, that is not, that would be an unwarned article. So we can increase some, but I am going to agree that 50,000 would be too much. I would entertain 25 or 30. I'm sorry? So I'll dispose of the amendment. Would you like to make another amendment to?
I propose that we increase by 30,000.
Two. Yes.
230?
Yeah, 30,000. Yes. Is there a second to that? Right here? Is there discussion on this amendment? All those, so now vote on the amendments. All those in favor of substituting 15,000 for 30,000 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is amended. Now is there any more discussion on the amended article? All right. Hearing none, we'll now move to vote on the amended article. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the amended article is passed. Now we've gone through all the articles. If there's no objections, if there's any other business that needs to be conducted or any discussion that would like to happen on things that were not on this article, this would be the time to have it. Though remember, we can do nothing binding at this time. Yeah, and then Logan next.
My name is Lou Krepsky. I'm a member of the Board of Directors, and I'm current treasurer of Black River Good Neighbor Services, and I would like to express our appreciation to the town for their continued support. It's not just about food anymore, although that's still our primary mission as far as food insecurity, but we're helping out in many other areas, and Craig Kellington has really taken the lead, and we have our fine community meals. I invite you all to attend. You'll best lunch in town. Supporting our thrift store, the best damn department store in town. But again, the town people who keep our parking lot clean and everything else, and the use of the building. Once again, just want to make a public appreciation to the town, the select board, and the people within the town and in the area that donate, that volunteer for us. And I just would like to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Logan?
Yes, thanks. Logan Nicole. I just wanted to call attention to the merger, which is coming up. The vote is going to be on March 24th, Tuesday. That is actually village meeting day. So the village will be voting on its own, slate of officers and all those things that we will vote on tomorrow as town members. And then we will also be voting on the plan of merger. We've had a few meetings on this already. There's been a few public hearings. There's going to be a few more. If you haven't been coming, engaged in those, I would hope that you would attend and engage so you can find out more about, the issues involved in this. But I think this is a really important vote for us, and we really want to have a good showing. And so please make a plan to vote on March 24th. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'd like to add a little bit more on the merger. Thank you, Mr. Nicole. So I know that the town and the village have proposed this in the past, and it's failed. A lot of us want government consolidation. This is government consolidation. What I have in front of you, I should have white gloves. This is historic. This is the town annual report from 1919. This is the village report from 1913. This made sense then, when you had a village that had commodities in town, they had resources in town. The town, when you had people that had farms, they were self-sustaining, they didn't have to come into the village. It made sense then. What the vote does on March 24th, it combines these two things into one entity. Right now, they're two separate forms of government. There is a tremendous amount of redundancy that you all are paying for. And if we can realize this, then very easily, a year or two later, we will find efficiencies within the government, within your municipality, that I can then dispatch those skill sets to apply for more grants so we can change the historic doors that we can't afford right now, so that we can actually put a real lock on it instead of one that's a bar like a shed. That's really what this is doing. It will consolidate. To speak to some of the misperceptions that are out there with this, I hear a lot of, well, then I'm in the town and I'm not part of the wastewater or water system. You will not pay for that. Only people that are hooked up to the water and or the wastewater will pay for that. You know the adage, you pay to play? That's exactly what that is. There is a process in place if one wants to hook up to the system, whether you're within the boundaries of the wastewater or water lines, or whether you are on outside of that. This merger does not, by doing this merger does not say all of a sudden to someone that lives up on South Hill, hey, guess what? You're gonna pay the water bill for people that live on Andover Street. The other thing that I keep hearing is, well, the town's going to absorb the village debt. The village has no debt. The village has no debt. So again, it becomes one. We are all one. Again, this is government consolidation. What you don't see when I speak of those inefficiencies is the two forms of government that are happening right now. So we have to create a budget for both town and village. We have to pay our employees through the town, through the village. Those are two different systems, and it takes your municipal staff a long time to do that. When we pay vendors and contractors and other services, we have to pay 65% of that bill out of the town budget, 35% out of the village budget. Do you know how long that takes? It's madness. If y'all want to come to another meeting, come back here tomorrow night. We'll talk one more time about the merger and why it's important.
Sure will.
And it will be the last one. And then we vote on the 24th. Thank you.
Is it county that votes, village that votes, or both?
Dan, that's a great question. He asked, how does that vote happen? So on March 24th, if you live in the village, and you pay 2 taxes right now if you live in the village, you will vote twice. If you live in the town, you will vote once. We need both bodies to pass this.
Paper ballot?
Yes. Paper ballot, yes. Absentee ballot? Yes.
Available.
Thank you to our Board of Civil Authority. They are our volunteers that will help us tomorrow and on the 24th. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Penny back to home. We've seen that tonight, what she's already added to our community. It's nice to have somebody coming back home to us here. I also wanted to thank the town crews, the road crews that have been keeping up with this winter, which has been very hard, and also Patty and her crew out at the treatment transfer station. They've been working very hard through the whole season too, not that the rest of the crews, the fire department and the police department and so forth, but those two in particular. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blodgett.
Lisa Schmidt, I just wanted to, I attended the school informational meeting on the budget that will be voted on tomorrow, and maybe I was one of 8 people there. And so I encourage you to watch that meeting. I think the superintendent had some really insightful things to share, and I've read a lot that just voting no is going to send a message. It's actually not going to send a message. The superintendent will explain it much better than I can, but all of the school budgets are all added together, and then we are assessed by the whole state's school budgets. It's not just our budget. So I would encourage you, I believe that you could find that on either LPC TV or the TRSU site. I encourage you to watch that meeting and understand what you're voting for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron Galley again. I was wondering if the board or the town manager could give us an update on the status of the repairs that were deemed necessary to the flood control reservoirs and dams after the 23 flood.
It's my understanding that those dam spillways were repaired. It is also my understanding that we got some federal funding, good stipend for reimbursement.
So the question was, thank you for the question. Thank you, Mr. Hijack. So the question was, what's the status on the reservoirs that surround town? The whole project, we have 4 reservoirs. The whole project is known as the Jewel Brook Dam Project. We are working with, all paid through flood recovery funds. We are working with Dubois and King engineering firm, large firm all throughout the Northeast, and they are currently redesigning portions of each dam, whether it be structural rebuild of the spillway, whether it be rebuilding portions of the actual earthen berms. There is a large cost to that project. Federal funds are available for that project. The price tag, we are not prepared yet to start construction on those 4 reservoirs. The price tag is close to $30 million. Like I said, there's federal funds available, and there are a lot of other federal funds other than FEMA, other than from the USDA Rural Development, that we are chasing. So we're not done yet with the engineers in terms of final designs and that sort of thing. Did I answer your question? Yes, thank you. That's the status right now.
The spillways were repaired, though. Just to let you know.
Yes.
Well, it was more
The entire.
I knew there was a bigger project and it was going down, and there was a lot of uncertainty about the funding.
Like we spoke about earlier, there are a lot of federal funds available that we are not tapping into, and we will.
Any other discussion? Yes.
Hi, Ed Kelly. Real quick, I was here and attended for some of the discussions on the 1% tax and what it would be used for. And it was a very rigorous discussion. There was a lot of time spent. So I just wanted to point that out. It was not done halfway. And the question that I'm dying to know is, with collecting $5.5 million from taxpayers, did we finally build a bathroom at the transfer station?
Yes.
For the Portland? Yes? Did we get her a bathroom finally?
It looks beautiful, Mr. Kelly.
All right. Okay. All those in favor of adjourning say aye. Aye. Those say no. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, folks.